Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Patrick Glenn, and welcome back to the channel. I originally, when I started my channel, I would kind of did a show back, what you see right here. It's called Rockin' with Dokken, where I went through and talked about the Dokken episodes. Well, I kind of got out of that and you know started doing something else called the Orange and Black Attack, which is about the Philadelphia Flyers, and I'm having fun doing that. But now I kind of want to got my gears going back again and doing this again, the Rockin' with Dokken. I want to thank Sal from over at Dead on Dave Productions for his background here. I kind of wanted to look more professional, and I'm going to re-upload and reboot Rockin' with Dokken. And in this episode, we're going to talk about their original release from 1983, which is Breaking the Chains. This is a good debut for Dokken. It's very reminiscent of the time period of hard rock and heavy metal at the time. It's got a lot of funk rock in there and all that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go show you the album if I have it on vinyl or if I have it on CD, and I'll talk about the album and give my review at the end of the album. The album came out in 1983. Um, Under Elektra Records, and the band members that are playing in it are Don Dokken, the lead vocalist, George Lynch on guitar, Ron Crucier from Rat, who went on to be famous from Rat. He's on bass, and on drums is Mick Brown, affectionately known as Wild Mick Brown. Now, the history of the album actually dates back to 1981 when Don Dokken scored a uh, solo deal from a French label called Carrere Records, and subsequently they released that album under the Don Dokken banner. This was the original album cover from that. Now, when Dokken got signed by Elektra Records, they decided to remix the album and re-release the album under the Dokken name with the members that played on in the band. Now I'm going to show you, as you can see right there is the album cover from this album. But I bring this up, and here is my vinyl of this. It's kind of worn and torn, but that's that's the front cover, and here's the back cover with the members of the band: Don Dokken, George Lynch, Juan Crucier, and Mick Brown. Now, the album starts off with with the title track of the album, which is Breaking the Chains. Good song, very first hit for Dokken. Was a mainstay on MTV in 1983. If you ever seen the video for this song, it's kind of goofy, really early MTV esque video. The second song on the album is called "In the Middle." It's actually a really good song. George is, you can tell that he's starting to grow his style, which would come later on in a couple albums down the road uh, with Under Lock and Key. But this is In the Middle is a good song. Third song, Felony. I don't care for this song too much, but when I put this album on, I can listen to it through and through without having any problems. It's kind of funk metal to it. If you ever listen to it, the bassing in it, the bass line in it is really good. Juan Crucier did a really good job playing bass on this. The fourth song is I Can't See You, and this is where the staple of Dokken uh, would come in with their harmonies. If one thing that was evident with Dokken in the 80s, it was the harmonies between Don Dokken, Mick Brown, and Jeff Pilson, who is not on this album, which I'll cover in a couple of minutes. But um, their harmonies were always great, which is why I loved the album. This is why they are my favorite band. Is that I can relate to most of their songs. A couple of their albums helped me get through tough times in my life, and I can just relate to their to their songs. And there's just good songwriting and good guitar playing. And I don't consider, I mean, they get lopped into the hair band mentality, but I don't consider Dokken a hair band. I consider them a hard rock band. Yeah, if you look at the picture here on the background, that's from the Under Lock and Key era. Yes, their hair's all poofed up with hairs, but that was the style back then. I don't like the term hair band because it makes it feel like the hair played the instruments instead of the band members, which is not fair. But Dokken, of course, was a lot better than that. And then their second album was a lot heavier than most of their records when I get to their second studio album, which will be a couple episodes from now. Uh, Fifth song on here, Live the Rock, Rock to Live. good fast-paced tune. Um, you know, this whole album is just okay. That's the first side. If you have the album, there's 10 songs. That's the first 5 songs on the first side of the album. We're gonna get into the second side, which is the first song. The second side is Night Rider. Good song. I love it when in the next episode, which I'll cover, which is the for Conception Live 1981, is the dueling guitars when they play this song live between Don and George, because Don played most of the rhythm guitars on this album, and George played the lead. Which is Don's an accomplished guitar player, but George is just better than him. Don's a great singer though. Fifth, seventh song on the album, which is the second song on side two. Seven Thunders. I love the beginning of the song with the crunchy guitar. Um, very good. Uh, very heavy. Don's high singing in this is very on point. The eighth song, Young Girls, one of the weaker songs on the album, just like Felony. Um, I don't care for Young Girls too much, but like I said, once I put the album on, I'll sit it right through and I'll listen to all of it. Uh, ninth song on the album, fourth song on the second side, if you have the LP, is "Stick to Your Guns." I like this song very, very much. It's kind of a call to arms, and just stick to your guns and don't let anybody get you down and all that stuff. And the final song that closes out this album, which is kind of strange, is a live track called "Paris Is Burning." Love this song. I think it's the best song on the album. Um, it's funny that their first studio album has a live track and their first live album has a studio track at the end of with Walk Away, but I'll get to that when I talk about Beast from the East. But um, very, very good debut from Dokken. I highly recommend you guys pick this one up. And I don't have a record player, so I can't listen to it fully on record, but I do have it on CD. Very, very good debut from this band. They were mainstay throughout the '80s, launching the hard rock and heavy metal scene along with the likes of Judas Priest and Motley Crue and Poison and Whitesnake and all of them. But it's a very good release. Now, Juan Crucier, who would go on after this album to go play with Rat, after this album was released, would go on and play with Rat, and Dokken would get in Jeff Pilsen, who is an accomplished bass player who is now playing with Foreigner. Uh, for those who are a band of Foreigner, he is now the bass player for Foreigner. But when he got in, the band got the classic Dokken lineup. It's from after this album, from the next album on, which is Tooth and Nails, next studio album on. But I'm going to talk about the live album next episode. Um, from this album on to when they break up in the late, yes, they do break up, but from this album on, it's Jeff Pilsen on bass, which is very, very good. His bass playing is totally underrated, and most people don't understand how good of a bass player Jeff Pilsen is. And him and Don and Mick with their vocal harmonies, it makes a lot of their songs a lot better than most of the bands that came out during the '80s that didn't have the harmonies. George Lynch, of course, is a guitar god. He is my favorite guitarist of all time. Even though him and Don have gotten into arguments over the production of this album, George has said that Don once him, Mick, and Juan left back to the States, Don got a hold of it and turned his vocals up and turned the guitars down and made it sound wimpy. George says the original cut of the album was very crunchy and very hard. Who cares? It's a great album. I don't care the bickering between these two guys. You guys make great music. Just shut up and enjoy it. Just shut up. Who cares? Um, as it, like I said, great album. Great. So pick it up. Pick it up if you can find it. Not download it on iTunes. I'm pretty sure it is there. And that will end this episode of Rockin' with Dokken. My next episode, I will be talking about an album that was released in 2007 called From Conception Live 1981, but I'm doing it in that order because of time period. Most of my album reviews will come into time period, and since it says 81 and it's material from this era, the Breaking the Chains era, I'm going to go off and review that. So look forward to that hopefully within the next week or so. And if you are new to my channel, like, sub, and share. And if you're a hockey fan, I have a show also on here called the Orange and Black Attack, where I talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. But if not, this is Rocket with Dokken, and I hope you guys enjoy these videos that are coming up. And let's just keep rocking with Dokken, and I'll see you guys next time when I talk about live from conception, live 1981.